Good morning, everybody. Welcome. So happy to see all of you here. When we started the conference, we thought we'd have about 300 people in a room. Instead, we ended up with 300 on the wait list. So we had the number right, but not what it meant. How many of you were at the natural wine event yesterday? And now you know all about natural wines. The reason why we picked that theme is because there is an analogy between natural wines and cryptocurrency. Natural wine is a fringe activity. It is kind of an alternative way of making wine, not the traditional way, in the same way that cryptocurrency is an alternative currency that is not like the traditional money. Because the money in your pocket and in your bank is being supplemented and replaced by tokens and cryptocurrency in your wallets, in your smartphone wallets, and in the apps in your smartphones. How many of you own a token or a cryptocurrency right now? So no surprise, most of you are owning it. Now, here's the second question. Of those of you that own cryptocurrency or tokens, how many of you, aside from trading them, how many of you are using the token for a utility, for doing something with an app? I see a lot less hands, maybe 10%. Well, this is what this conference is about. This is not about the price of tokens and the price of cryptocurrency. This is a conference about the business models behind the cryptocurrencies and behind the tokens. That is what we are here to explore. We have about 44 countries represented when I did a quick count, and I want to say hello just to a few: Brazil, Estonia, Japan, Belarus, France, Croatia, Colombia, Singapore. This is really a global phenomenon. What more can we say? Just a couple of housekeeping items, and then I'm going to call Nick, my partner, to come and say a few words. Everybody in a yellow T-shirt are volunteers, and they're here to help you, to guide you. If you have any questions, go to them. We want to ask you to always clear the aisles, and when we get more filled up later in the day, to always kind of try to fill the seats in the center so that people can come in, because we are over capacity. We sold more seats than we have seats in this auditorium. So I'm almost in trouble. The bathrooms are on either side. The Wi-Fi's are, there are little signs everywhere, so feel free to use that. And the event is being periscoped via our Twitter account. Nick, so to set the stage, I'm going to talk about what I'm seeing in the value chain of the cryptocurrency landscape with a couple of slides. Just as a preamble, there are lots of ICOs that are currently taking place, and the process kind of seems to be straightforward, which is it starts by the company either developing a product or raising money. One of these two happens before the other. It's irrelevant, really, it doesn't matter. And then they go to the market. So it kind of sounds so easy. But in reality, what happens is that between the ICO stage and the development stage and going to reality, there's a lot of uncertainty in between. So I wanted to categorize all of the different tokens and cryptocurrency projects that have been springing out almost every day, every week. If you go to coinmarketcap.com, there are 800 of them. So I took a shot here, and this is inspired by the Magic Quadrant that Gartner has popularized. And I didn't want to call it a quadrant, so I called it a quadricle. This is the first time I'm showing this. It's not even on my blog yet. And really, what happens here is that everybody starts with a launch, and then they think they're going to go to the market here, but in reality, it never happens this way. It always goes this way. And then where most of the projects are, and I know I'm going to get some pushback, they all go into the darkness period. So ICO, darkness, 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 and that darkness could be 1 to 2 years, really. Everybody wants to be the next Ethereum. I have been involved with Ethereum from like almost day one, and I've seen how it evolved. And it didn't just happen like this in a straight line. There were lots of ups and downs. A lot of these are kind of close to getting in here. These are the ones that here, and maybe I've missed a few, but the key point about the reality is that you can point at it and say, well, here, there are users. Or here, there is an ecosystem. Here, there are thousands of developers. There are users doing something. They know what their business model is. They know what their revenue model is. And there are some real metrics behind this. So that is the key differentiating point in that quadrant. And the next thing that I'm seeing here, there's a new ecosystem that's emerging. It started with the blockchain, obviously. And then we realized, well, behind the blockchain, or what is it? Is it protocol? Well, let's do more protocols. And then, well, there's cryptocurrencies. Well, then there's startups. So let's have startups that do protocols and cryptocurrencies and blockchains. And then we have apps and dApps. And then we said, well, Ethereum and Bitcoin were like ICOs. And let's do more ICOs. And then the ICOs were very, very popular. Then the funds came along and said, well, let's do a fund now to invest in these ICOs or before they become ICOs or in those companies. And now there are investment platforms that specialize in helping consumers or accredited investors to invest more and more into these cryptocurrency projects. So we are seeing here the beginning of an ecosystem with new players and new categories that we did not see before. And then in the third category, we have promoters now. There are companies that tell you, well, we can have ICO in a box. We can just help you to get ICO next week, next month, and we have all the process organized, and you just kind of hire us and give us 5% or something like that. And we want the cheapest token prices possible. And then now we have accelerators as well. And then accelerators are now, it's the same as the good old model of accelerators. The only difference is that now we are trying to create companies that can go ICO. And then we have analysts now that are analyzing the marketplace. And we're going to hear from some of them later on. And then what else do we have? Well, we have everybody. That's really what it is now. You're all here. Everybody is now into cryptocurrency. Just the fact of this event has been just like an eye-opener for us, to kind of very humbling to see the demand, and everybody wanted to come here because this is the topic of the day. This is really the topic that's going to be with us for a number of years. And this is what the whole day is all about. With that in mind, we're going to start with the first panel, which is actually a fireside chat with Nick and Eric.